Hi, my name is Alyssa, and today I have for you an update for my Pan That palette. Pan That palette is a project where you are trying to use up an entire makeup palette, everything in it, and maybe do it in the year, which is what I'm trying to do. Last year, I decided I was going to try it for this year because this Ulta palette I have, it's not a favorite, but the shades in it are small. I already had pan in a lot of it. So why not go ahead and, if there was ever a palette that I could use to completion, then it should be this one. So I will put updates on the screen so you can see from when I rolled it in to my first update, and this is update number 2. You're going to see some differences in how everything looks. You're also going to see the differences in uses for the shades. So my biggest change for this month is I finally hit pan in that gray eyeshadow. Those of you who have been with me know that it's definitely not one of my favorite shades in there, and is just, yeah. So I mostly have been using it in my eyebrows along with a little bit of that dark maroon shade next to it. It took me 28 uses this year to hit pan in it. And the pan has been expanding. Like, it was really tiny. I have a picture on my Instagram when I first had it, and it was so tiny. And then it has been getting bigger. So hopefully that means it won't take, 10 times that amount to finish the eyeshadow. But yeah, so let's go ahead. We'll talk shade by shade. The first shade then is kind of a blending out shade for me that I'll use, and I have now used it 25 times this year. The pink shade next to it, I have used 16 times this year. The shiny pink shade, I've only used 7 times, but I will say when I use it, it is more of a flakier type of texture, so it tends to kind of go a little faster than the matte shades. The blush kind of shade, I've used 9 times, so not a lot, but I am kind of focusing a bit on both using the other shades. Like, I was really trying to hit pan in that gray shade. I was also kind of thinking I would use up that first shade completely, and I probably could have, but I've been then splitting some uses with the pink shade, just because depending on my look, sometimes the pink is nice. Like, I actually used the pink today to blend out the outer part. It's one of those, if a pink would work for a look, then I will use the pink, just because I can't use it for every look, versus the more beigey shade. So that's why, it's like, well, it'll get used eventually, so I'm not too worried about that beige not being done yet. But for, the blush shade, it's not a big priority. I mean, I guess I do need to up it because it is a much bigger pan, but I also have blushes I'm working on other projects, so that's part of the problem too. Then we have that green kind of shimmer shade. What helped me for this one is I had it in Expand Those Pans, so I had to use it 10 times for that anyway, so I have used it 14 times this year. And the pan has definitely expanded a lot, so maybe it's not that many more to use it up. Like I said, for the gray shade, I've been using it a lot in my eyebrows. It took 28 to hit pan, but I have used it this year 38 times. So I've used it the most, and yet, it looks the least loved. The maroon shade next to it, I have used for other purposes as well, but definitely a lot with the eyebrows. And that has been used 24 times. Sometimes my tallies get a little hard to read. And then the highlighter shade, I've used it 6 times. Sam, who's also here on YouTube, she has suggested trying to use it as a base and putting more sparkly shades on top. And I did do that. I wish I could think about which look it was because it's underneath, so it's hard for me to remember now. And it did actually work okay, so I think I will... Oh, I do know where I used it. All right. I will try to put the picture up. I just remember because I used something from the Dots brand on top of it. Okay, I should be able to put that up. So yeah, it did work, and I could see doing that some more. I've just been trying to use some other eyeshadow, so, you know, we'll have to work on that. And also just overall for the palette, when I brought it in, it was 56 and 4200 grams. Last month, it was 55 and 7700 grams. So, you know, I used up over half a gram, but this time I actually used 9/10 of a gram. So now it is 54 and 8700 grams. At first, when I saw it, I'm like, oh, I didn't even use a gram's worth. But then I'm like, wait, no, I actually used more than I had been. So I guess, you know, even though I feel like in some ways there's not a lot of change because I haven't completed anything yet, I guess I did actually increase uses, or each use was worth more than it had been. So feeling pretty good. Definitely still feel like I could finish it this year. I do know I have to keep working on those two bigger pans in the palette, but it's fine. Like, you know, it's only March. So I hope you enjoyed this update. If you haven't already, maybe you'll consider subscribing or giving this video a thumbs up, or both. Thank you for watching. Until my next video, I hope you'll be doing well, and I'll see you then. Bye.